Hello there, welcome back to at Fibro Natters. Good to see you back. This episode is about living with fibromyalgia, CFSME, and learning to slow down. I have to admit, my scenario, my life isn't like everybody else's out there. I'm very aware that people that are living with those things are still working, they are bringing up their children. Some have had it for 10, 20, 30 years. Others haven't. And I'd just like to say I am aware of that. And what I'm talking about is my experience and how it's affected my life. I'm in my 50s now. Yes, I was working, but I had to stop overnight. I'm very lucky to have a partner, a husband that has really looked after me since it all happened. He does everything. Basically, he goes out to work, he earns the money, he does the shopping, he cooks the meals, he cleans the house. I do the washing. That's my thing. So I always do the washing. Eventually. No, I do. Sometimes I cook the dinner, but very rarely. But yeah, I do what I can, and I do more now than I did a year ago. So that's good. But yeah, we're all different, aren't we? We're all living different lives, different scenarios, different ages. We're at different stages of fibromyalgia, CFSME. So it's only been just over a year for me. A year ago, I was like a woman of 90, shuffling along, spending most of my day in bed. I'd get up to eat and then I'd go back to bed. I'd get up to drink, I'd go back to bed. So yeah, it was really difficult in the early days because I completely crashed for months and months and months. I just crashed. And because it was new for me, I didn't really know how to deal with it. So I've been lucky. I've spent a year, or just over a year, analysing what's going on with me, with my body, and finding out who I am now, and who I want to be. So yeah, basically I wanted to carry on talking about the slowing down, because we all know there are days where we can't even think straight. You know, you just, I mean, I can have a conversation and I think I'm absolutely fine, and then I get that look. We've all seen that look where the other person's like, what did you say? That didn't quite make sense. And you've put the wrong word in the wrong place, or you've completely misunderstood what the other person was saying. Or you just can't follow instructions, you can't follow a conversation on those days because your brain just can't deal with it. I mean, I've had times where my brain's just shut down just for a few seconds, but it completely just goes, huh? And I'm gone. I can remember a few months ago, I was walking back from the pharmacy in my village, and there was a guy out in his garden, and I always say hello to him. I don't know his name, but I always say hello, and pass the time of day, you know, him and his wife. And I went, hi, and he said hello, and he said something, and I just sort of looked at him, and I went, sorry, what did you say? And he said whatever it was again, and I just didn't, I did not compute anything, any of the words he was saying. I just didn't understand what he was saying. And I said, I'm really sorry. I said, I can't understand what you're saying. And he looked at me and went, oh, I was just saying blah, 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 blah. And I went, I'm really sorry, I think I better just go home. I just turned around and walked home, and I was like, what is the matter with, am I having a stroke? I thought, am I having a stroke? Luckily, that's not happened to me before. I just, yeah, that was scary. Yeah, so that was earlier on, you know, and I didn't know. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. But yeah, that's never happened again. But yeah, I still shut down. But I think we mustn't feel guilty about that. We just need to accept that, you know, we are going to have days like that. And I think the people around us that are in our life, we need to sit down with them and explain to them that, you know, sometimes you just talk too fast, or you use too many words, like words that you really don't need to use when you're telling me something. Just keep it as simple as possible, because if you go off on a tangent and say, yeah, and we did this and we did that and we made that and it all happened and blah blah blah, I'm just going to go, I'm just not here anymore. I'm not even going to try and listen, because I straight away feel my body going like that. Like it's your central nervous system. It's like butterflies, isn't it? And you can feel it going, and you think, no, I just can't do it. You're wasting my energy. You are taking up my energy by using too many words and making a sentence just too complicated for me. So yeah, I think we need to let the people around us know that it's not just us that have slowed down, because we've had to slow down, and we have to make a conscious effort of slowing down, and not feel guilty about it. And I think, yeah, the people around us need to know that on those days we need them to slow down. And I know outside these four walls the world's just rushing around and getting things done as quick as possible. But in my life at the moment, that's not my life. That's somebody else's life out there. I'm basically in here. I'm in this house like 24/7 most of the time, unless I go for a little walk, or I have an appointment at the hospital for a blood test, or I've got to go to the pharmacy that's in my little village. So I think in the last year I've probably left this village 4, maybe 5 times. The rest of the time I've been here, just trying to cope with what's happening. And yes, again, I'm very lucky to be able to try and take the time to get my head around this. So yeah, I just wanted to stress that we need to let other people know that, you know, we'd appreciate it if they could slow down a little bit. I mean, I don't know what you guys are like, but when I'm really, really tired and having like a really bad fibro day where it's attacking my head, and your sinuses and your face and your gums and your neck, it is really hard, and I find it really, my eyesight is really, really bad now with fibro. I've been and had them checked, and they're saying I've got the right glasses and everything like that, and I'm using eye drops constantly. But yeah, I just can't read for very long. So I've taken to sending voice notes or voicemails, whatever they are, on my phone rather than text. I just talk to people now because yeah, I just can't see to send a text message anymore. And that again takes so much energy, doesn't it, to try and do that. So yeah, it's much easier just to use a voice note, and then it's done and dusted then. But yeah, I think I've covered everything in this episode that I wanted to. I'm just checking my notes. I don't know what you're like, but I have got notes all over the bloody place. You know, whatever I've got to do or think about, or it's written down, I've got to write it down, because you just forget, don't you? You can't retain information, or I can't anymore. So yeah, I've spent the last year writing notes on bits of paper all over the bloody place as well. And I know, you know, a lot of people think, oh God, bloody hell. But to be honest, it's a lifesaver for me. It stops me stressing, because if I don't write it down, I'm forever thinking about, oh, what have I got to remember? Have I remembered it all? Did I remember to say that to them? Did I remember to say that to the doctor? So, yeah, anything and everything, I write it down. And if I have to, like a lot of the time, if I'm going to the doctors for whatever reason, I will write it all down. And just give it to them and say, look, this is why I'm here, because it saves me energy, it saves them time, and it just makes it a lot less stressful overall. So yeah, they're my little tips, I suppose, for getting through life at the moment. But yeah, I'm a lot better now than I was a year ago. I've now started having friends over again, because I didn't have people over for, Christ, months and months and months and months, because I'd stress about it even before it happened, and then I'd crash and then have to say, sorry, I can't do it today, I've crashed again. Or they'd come for a few hours and I'd crash for 3 weeks. I'd crash because my friend had been over to see me for a few hours. And it had happened even in a phone call. So like a voice call. Yeah, I'd spend an hour, literally we'd spend an hour catching up, because we never see each other. And then I'd crash. I'd crash for 3 days and I'd be like, oh my God, really? But yeah, I think it's a lot about acceptance again, isn't it? You've got to accept that's how it is now. And just put things in place to make your life and everybody else's life a little bit easier. But yeah, I will thank you again for listening. There is so much to talk about, isn't there? But this is me for today. I just wanted to check in. If I've rambled and not made any sense at all, I apologise now. I'm not having the greatest day, but I did manage to get out and have a little walk today. And it was nice. It was nice. It's lovely when I get out. That is my relief, when I get out and I can walk and go and walk in the fields. And that lifts my mental health. And it makes my central nervous system a lot happier as well, I've noticed. But yeah, I think that's it for today. I will leave you, and I hope you're having better days. And if you've got any tips, ideas, or you want to share your story, what do you do to help your day a little bit better? And yeah, never feel bad about slowing down when you need to, okay? Other people need to accept that and understand that. And we'll all be a little bit happier, I think. Thank you again for tuning in. I will have a think about the next episode. If you have any ideas, you know, what would you like to discuss? We can do that too. Just leave a comment underneath. Please like my videos and please subscribe. It makes a hell of a difference. And shout about it, so that we can all help each other along our journeys, make it a little bit better for each other. So I will love you and leave you, sending you healing, and I will speak to you again soon. Goodbye.